Welcome back. 24 minutes after the hour. With Thanksgiving just a day away, dinner costs may be dipping, but not all Americans are feeling like they are. A recent poll says the most challenging thing for Americans to afford right now are the groceries. Take a look at these numbers. The average cost of Thanksgiving dinner to feed a family of 10 is at $55.18, down 5% from 2 years ago. That's the good news that the price is down, but still a struggle for many. Several stores are launching a Thanksgiving meal deal. If you go to Walmart, its Thanksgiving meal costs $3 per person, less than last year, but includes different items and fewer of them. The White House focusing on affordability ahead of Thanksgiving, with the president saying prices are down. But with consumer confidence declining, both Democrats and Republicans are talking about affordability, with the cost of a Thanksgiving meal is taking on outsized importance this year. So let's bring in our panel to look at both sides. I'm joined by Democrat strategist David Carlucci and Republican strategist Matt Kling. Gentlemen, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you, Nick?
I'm all right. Let's just jump on in there and start talking about these numbers. David, I'm going to start with you. The White House has seized on the Thanksgiving meal to show that President Trump and his administration has helped lower costs. Let's listen to some of what the president had to say.
This Thanksgiving, we're also making incredible strides to make America affordable again. Walmart announced that the cost of their standard Thanksgiving meal is 25% lower than just 1 year ago. That's a big deal. According to the USDA, the price of Thanksgiving turkey is down 33% from its Biden-era highs. Potatoes are down 13%. Ham is down 15% compared to last Thanksgiving. So we are down to a level that we haven't seen in a long time.
Down 13% from its Biden-era high, David.
Hey, I hope the president keeps talking like that, because that's going to lead the GOP right off a cliff on these midterms. I know we fell into that trap as Democrats last term when President Biden was the president, and we were talking about the economics, right, and the affordability of certain products and inflation. And this issue of affordability, we saw Trump say it's a new word, affordability. Well, of course, it is subjective, and affordability means different things to different people. And so to Donald Trump, it might be this is a new word because he doesn't really understand that. But trying to tell people that cost of living is lower is a failed political strategy. It's not going to work. Talking about these things, especially the Walmart dinner, many have said, well, that's not accurate because it's less items in it than last year. So this is subjective. Of course, I think it's the wrong strategy for the president. He's got to show how he's lowering costs, not just throwing out numbers.
Matt, is he just throwing out numbers, or have prices gone down?
Well, look, I think, first of all, David, happy Thanksgiving to you and your family.
Thank you.
Look, I think that both can be true at the same time. But I think that the second part of what I'll say is more important than the first. Some things are down, and you cannot doubt it. Energy prices are down 15%. Eggs are cheaper. The Thanksgiving meal with all the fixings, as you pointed out, is less expensive. That's great. However, if the consumer perception is that they are stretched on Thanksgiving and they are stretched in their day-to-day life, guess what? Perception equals reality in politics. And David, you nailed it. And I'm going to, maybe in the spirit of Thanksgiving, the Democratic flaw was that they kept telling the consumer that they didn't know how good they had it when the consumer was going, wait a second, we don't have it that good. The Republicans, as David said, they can't fall into that same trap. If they need to come out, not only do they need to talk about how things are less expensive, but they need to continue to make things less expensive, because the proof will be in the pudding. That's ultimately what matters. If the consumer believes that they're getting more for their buck, then they're going to get more for their buck. That it's not going to be from Donald Trump standing up and saying you're better off than you were.
And Matt, so that's the question. Consumers say they're planning to spend less this Thanksgiving because of the higher cost, and farmers are feeling the pinch too. I want to play part of what we're hearing from farmers and chat about this, gentlemen.
I think the biggest cost for us in terms of our turkey prices is not the turkey and not the cost of feed, but it's all the other related. It's the corrugate, it's my cardboard, it's my plastic, it's labor. Labor is one of the biggest factors that we have when it comes into processing turkeys for leading up to Thanksgiving. And as we continue to drive minimum wages up or, working wages up, it drives the cost of your turkey up.
Matt, what's the deal? Farmers are still feeling the pinch, and now we know another bailout to farmers is coming. If the policies are working, why are farmers still struggling?
Again, I think that what you heard the farmer say is, one, wages are going up, and you have radical cities like the city of Los Angeles that is now talking about a $30 minimum wage for people in the city. That, for a long time, it was the fight for 15. Now it's the fight for 30. Pretty soon it will be the fight for 50. Things just cost more across the board, and farmers are acutely impacted by small price increases across the board. So again, it's working for some, it's not working for others. I think most farmers will ultimately end up voting for Donald Trump. That being said, the voters are snarly, and even though Trump has not been in office for a year, the Republicans hold the keys to the kingdom, and they are responsible for what's going on. They need to directly address, tangibly, not just by words, they need to address affordability. If they don't do it in 26, guess what? They'll certainly lose the House. They won't lose the Senate because the wrong seats are up. But again, there's still plenty of time. There's still a lot of tax cuts that come into play. But again, the Republicans, they need to deliver on this, and they can't just say, you really are better off, trust us. The voters don't trust anybody right now.
Matt?
That's right. I think the Republicans, particularly Donald Trump, is running out of people to blame. He's the best at it. He just blames, passes the buck. And now he's running out of people to blame. He'll still try it, but people are not going to buy it because he is the president and the Republicans control each chamber of Congress. And when people sit around the Thanksgiving table tomorrow, they're going to be talking about Donald Trump's policies like tariffs, particularly here in New York State, where he's created a trade war with Canada. It's just not sitting right with most Americans. And that farmer who you featured, he's talking directly about tariffs. Yes, maybe they made a deal on corn and wheat, but some of these other issues that he's talking about, that's what that farmer is talking about. And all they can point to is Donald Trump increasing prices.
And David, I want to stick with those tariffs because we saw Mr. Trump stop tariffs on over 100 food items a few weeks ago. Is it time to go back and relook at other economic policies that are leading Americans to feel negatively about the economy?
Yeah, I mean, each economic indicator is like a puzzle, right? The economy is many different pieces of that. And we can take any economic indicator and bend it to our agenda, whether it's the jobs report or the Walmart Thanksgiving dinner. But it takes a collective piece of all of those to build a strong economy. But I think everyone is an expert in affordability. And that's why you hear people, even with Donald Trump saying it's not true, you hear everyone saying that things cost too much and it's becoming unaffordable for most Americans. Maybe the richest, Donald Trump's biggest supporters and biggest benefactors are benefiting, but most working Americans are getting further and further away from a cost of a home, it costs to heat their home, and it costs to fill the refrigerator. All of those prices are getting higher and higher, and it's harder for people to maintain that quality of life that we expect and we deserve.
Matt?
Yeah, well, I would agree with what David said, with the exception of this is not new. This really occurred largely for 4 years of fiscal mismanagement under Joe Biden. Donald Trump is trying to turn the oil tanker that is America's economy around, but the Biden people so screwed up the economy that it's not happening quickly. But guess what?
You can't
the
keep
voters
blaming.
don't care. They don't care about that. They want it right now, and that's what they voted for. 10 months, Donald Trump's economic plan still isn't fully implemented. The voters don't care. Next year, if we're having this conversation, it's going to be a bad midterm election for Republicans. If we're talking about the strength of the economy, there will be other things for Democrats to argue about. But how this issue gets resolved between now and then is going to determine whether the Republicans still run everything in Washington or if the Democrats take the House.
David,
And
Matt, I
that's
have
gonna
less
be a
than
lot of
30
fun.
seconds. I want your Thanksgiving wish for America. David, go.
Well, I hope we can end this hyperpartisanship that we're in and really focus on how we can move America forward and not just score political points.
Matt?
No pumpkin pie on every table and no politics at the dinner table.
Matt, did you say pumpkin pie? It's supposed to be sweet potato pie. Where are you living at, Matt? What you talking about?
I'm from California. I will at least be potato pie though if it's there.
I love that. David, Matt, thank you both. Gentlemen, have a great Thanksgiving with your families.
Thank you,
Nick.